Hey friends, welcome to Lamb Living. My name is Holly Lamb, and today in the video I'm going to be flipping some bargains that I found at our Habitat ReStore here in Glenn County, Georgia. That has $2 on this cabinet drawer front, or door front. It may be a drawer, maybe a door, that has some holes for some hardware, but each of these panels were $2. My ReStore always has great sales on the door, and you can always find fantastic bargains, which is what we're flipping today. So first of all, I took a little bit of air dry clay and some wood glue, and I filled in those holes where the hardware was supposed to be. Now there wasn't any hardware, there weren't any hinges or any pulls or anything like that. It was just the boards for $2 each. And I thought that was a fantastic deal because, of course, these are nice, heavy cabinet doors. And so I'm going to prepare it for paint, and I'm using the Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster. And I'm going to cover all the fronts, sides, all the little cracks and crevices and everything. But I'm only going to be sealing this center section because I'm going to be putting a crackle finish on the frame part. And this center section, we're going to be putting transfers and some stamps on. So transfers, best practice is to put it on a sealed surface. So I've got it all sealed with my Super Matte Mod Podge. And now I'm going to go ahead and get the crackle going. It's got to be drying. And so I'm putting this one-step crackle that I got at Hobby Lobby. This is Deco Arts. One-step crackle, and I like to, give a nice liberal, big, thick in some places, thin in others, crackle finish, so I get different size crackles. But this is a fine line, so it's going to be, just a real fine texture. I'm not going to get big crackles here. Now I'm using the Merry and Bright stamp set from IOD. It's one of their Christmas stamp sets from, about 3 or 4 years ago. And inside these beautiful labels are some words. And so I'm going to be using those words. You can pull them out of those labels, or you could use them with the, inside the labels. And so they give you lots of options there. And IOD always fills up anything they have. Here I'm using the Collage de Fleurs transfer. And look at every page is full. We have big flowers, we have little flowers, we have leaves, we have all kinds of things, ivy in this one as well. And so I'm just picking out, of course, this is going to be I made this for my mantle, to go above my mantle at Christmas time. But these big flowers I had in mind to keep it up through Valentine's Day. So you see I'm kind of picking out some candy striped flowers, but then I have these big red, I don't know, I guess it's not a peony, but it doesn't look like a rose. Maybe it's just a really open rose where you can see the center. And I don't know, you probably know better than I do which is which, but these flowers, all I know is they're just gorgeous. And so I was trying to pick some that were a little bit different, but had some similarities, and that red really shows up beautifully on this off-white chalk paint. And so I'm going to kind of prepare my little backing there so I can get right inside that frame, and it's not, up on the frame, so I can have it flat. And all transfers come with this little, plastic transfer tool, and you just scrape it down. Now you can see I'm just carefully lifting up, getting the transfer moving. I'm making sure it's all there. Whoops. Did you see I had one little piece that didn't come up for some reason, but I just put it right back down where it was, and you can't even tell that it was ever separated from the rest of the flower. I think it actually was part of the leaf. But transfers are so easy to use. They are just so fun. I've had this since the summer, and this is the first time I've used this transfer book. I kind of hoard craft supplies. It's just something I like. I'm a collector. We won't say a hoarder. I'm a collector. And I have lots of these gorgeous things, and I just love to use them. But I also love to just, kind of have them in my back pocket so I can just pull them out if I so choose to. They're just a lot of fun to work with. And so easy peasy, we put them on there, and I am going to be then putting my stamps. I thought I was going to put them in a row kind of at the bottom, but I wanted to show a little bit better, so I decided to kind of put them in a cockeyed pattern there. Of course, we're seeing this upside down. I'm looking at it right side up, but I'll show it to you right side up in a sec. I'm using a thin mount. Iron Orchid Designs sell these as well. And my favorite archival ink that I get, you can get these at Michael's or Joann's. I actually got mine from Hobby Lobby, but it's the color Potting Soil. And it comes out a nice golden brown. And I use this color all the time. I love this color. This is my shade. So when I stamp, I keep one hand still, and the other hand is working over the entire stamp. Whoop, and there we go. All right, good tidings of comfort and joy. Now, at the bottom, it still had a little bitty space, so I pulled out my Alphabellies. I just totally forgot what that was. Stamp set that's supposed to go with all the alphabet stamps to go in the backgrounds and whatever. But it's got all these little cute, flourishes and different things. And so I'm using one of them to kind of fill in there under the word joy. There we go. I love these thin mounts. I can really line things up nicely, so I won't get things cockeyed. And there we go. Pull it up real quick so it doesn't slide. There we go. And then you can add transfers. You can kind of recreate the transfer from the book by cutting it, carefully, doing a little fussy cutting, and then you can put transfers over other transfers. That works beautifully. You can layer them, just as much as you want to. Now I'm going to, my crackle finish is dry on the frame, and so I want to bring out those crackles a little bit. So I'm going to take my Antique Wax by Waverly, and I'm going to add some water to it. And just to, water it down a little bit. And it is water-based, so this works out just fine. And then I'm just taking a paper towel and I'm rubbing it into that crackle finish. And it's a very fine crackle. So it's just giving the frame a little bit of texture and color and just setting it apart from the, the pretty art that we've put on the inside. There we go. And I'm just going to show you there. It's just a very subtle, tiny little crackles. It's a little easier to see in person, but you get the picture. You can see how it's a little different. And then I'm taking my Potting Soil ink and I'm just kind of rubbing it on the edges, just lightly, to bring out the edges of the frame just a little bit, because this obviously isn't a real frame. It's just a simulated frame from a cabinet. You can see there where I've put the ink on the edges just to kind of make it stand out. All right, now we've headed outside to the spray paint table. It was a beautiful day. We've had some very mild weather here. We had a few cold nights in December and cold days, but for the most part, we've had a very mild winter, or start to the winter anyway. And so here it is above my beautiful angel holding on to that little defenseless lamb. That's how we feel sometimes, but always we're in the hands of the Father, and angels surround us and take care of us at His whims and at His desires. All right, now I found this fancy G at the ReStore one day, and it also had a $2 price tag on it. I mean, and probably it was 40% off or 30% off or whatever was stuck to the door. And so it was already painted black, and it had that hanger on there. I did cut the hanger off, but I am going to paint it on the back as well. I didn't know if she has a storm door on her door, and I didn't know if she was going to put it. She normally puts her things that she hangs on the door, on the front door, so it is protected by the storm door, but I didn't know. So I thought I'd go ahead and finish the piece and paint it on both sides with that ink chalk paint. Now here comes another transfer set from the summer release. This is Etiquettes. This is their Gilded Foil. Now you see I'm pointing to all that writing that's in between all those beautiful, you know, labels and all the beautiful graphics that you get in these this particular set. But I want the writing. It's I guess it's French writing. I don't know. It's a really fancy script, so it's a little hard to read. But that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted it to be kind of a random script all over the G part. Now, I'm not going to put anything on the little swirlies on the sides. That was, my husband suggested that. I held it up to him and I said, is this a G? Because to me, when I first saw it at the store, I was like, oh, that's a fancy G. But then I got to looking at it and I was like, is this really a G? And he said, yeah, I think it's a G. He said, why don't you just put the gold stuff on the G and leave it off the little side swirls. And I thought that was a great idea to kind of emphasize that, yes, this is a G, because that is the first letter of their last name. So I wanted to give this to them for Christmas. And and then I've got a picture at the end of it on their front door. And I knew she would like this. She likes things with, you know, black, and then she's got some, you know, things with gold. So I thought this would be just right for their front door. They live right around the corner from us. It's a joy to have them so close for so many reasons. I love a Hope pop in when she pops in for just a few minutes while she's on a walk or on a run, or she's just, you know, coming to drop something off, maybe swap out some clothes. We share clothes to wear to school. And so that's kind of fun. So look how this, I just put little pieces and parts. It doesn't make any sense. If you knew how to read French, it wouldn't make any sense at all, because I've just put little pieces and parts all together, but it just works. Okay, now I'm going to seal it in with my super matte. Again, I don't want to gloss on this. I want the gold to stand on its own and be its own, you know, shimmery, shiny. Okay. Now I'm going to make a hanger for this just with those black beads. This strand of beads I got at Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to use the black ones. We're going to keep this simple. Again, I want the gold gilded foil transfers to kind of be the superstar on this fancy G. And so I didn't put any hot glue at the end of my twine like I normally do. I just didn't have it on. But I was just twisting it into the beads. These beads had really big openings, so it really wasn't necessary. But you see, I'm just twisting it the way that the twine wants to twist. And even though it's kind of frayed there on the end, it goes right in, because I'm just kind of like a screwdriver. I'm just kind of sending it through the hole the way that the twine wants to go. And then I'm just going to tie it and make the knot go to the back. There we go. I'm just going to do a regular square knot. Put a little bit, this is the back of the G. I'm going to go ahead and, put a little hot glue on the back and then snip it off. And then when I flipped it back over, I thought the twine would be okay, but because it had burlap holding it before and it looked pretty good, but I didn't like the way that looked. So I got out some of my alcohol ink paint pens by Sharpie. I get these at Hobby Lobby as well. There we go. And they're great. You can write on most anything. And here I'm just coloring in twine, for heaven's sakes. It's no big deal. So I try to get, most of it. I get on the sides, but I'm not going to get crazy about it. If you see a little twine, I'm okay with that. But here it is. And I think that gold foil just is stunning. Everything I put this gold foil transfers on is just beautiful. Here in that all is calm there in the middle, on the bottom, that's actually from the gold foil sheets from Christmas. And I put her name on it too. There's hope and peace on it from the Christmas gold foil. Oh, I just love the way that turned out. And there it is on their front door. You see she's opened up the storm door so you can see it on the front door. And I love it. She's got a command hook there holding it. And the gold is just popping off the G. Love it. All right, I'm going to leave you with a scripture here. This is Psalm 37:4. Starting the new year, this is a great way to get us going on this 2025. It says, delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. So that is from the Psalms, and that is wonderful. I hope if you like this video, you'll give me a like and subscribe to my channel and come back. God bless, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.